Okay, let's see if that fixed anything. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. 1, 2. Let's see if that fixed anything. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hey, all right. Looks like we're back in business. All right, let's go ahead and continue on with our little project here. Okay, and good point. Yes, we do need fuel lines attached from the wing over to the over to the main fuselage. So let's go ahead and get that done. Let's see here. Okay, so we'll extend that and place that here. There we are. Now we should have a little bit better. We should. There we go. Okay, so. Our engine should be able to work a little bit more efficiently. Let's take a look here. If we were full up on hydrazine on all sides of our vehicle in a vacuum, that would give us 1400 meters per second delta V. Perfecto. That is amazing, and that is perfect. Okay, so next up, we still need to test the glide capabilities of this vehicle. So let's... What we're going to do is we're going to do a quick fix here. We're going to treat this thing like a rocket. And we're going to go ahead and launch this thing vertically. Best idea ever. Okay, there we go. Alright, and let's launch this puppy. Okay. Cargo bay doors closed. SAS on, throttle to full, and launch. Here we go. And then disengage engine. Gears up. And let's go ahead and turn this puppy about. Now these wings are ginormous for the sort of vehicle we're attempting to launch into space here. So lift capabilities on this thing shouldn't be much of an issue anyways. So we should be pretty good. Okay, look at that. Beautiful. And let's see if we can go ahead and land this puppy here. So we're going to turn ourselves over. Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to make it to the runway. Actually, let's see if we can make it to the runway. Okay. Here we go. And turning ourselves to 270 degrees. And right now we're holding our own on an awesome glide slope at just 54 meters per second. So we're looking really good right now. I may have to add one more part to this vehicle, or two more parts, depending. I think we're gonna have to add in some radiators, because of the extended time we're gonna be in Earth's atmosphere when we go into re-entry back to the planet. The parts are going to have a tendency to heat up a lot more than they normally would if we were using just regular stock Kerbal space programs. So we're definitely going to have to need some anti-heating radiators attached to this thing here. Okay, brakes on. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my goodness. Lost track of the buttons there, but we managed to land okay. So we're looking pretty good here. Perfect. Okay. So let's go and head back to the space plane hangar. And we're going to reload the shuttle here. Okay. So, here we go. Next up, we have the tough part. And the tough part meaning we've got to attach the fuel tanks, we got to attach the SRBs, everything needed to get this thing into space. Alright, so first off, let's go and add in our mock cargo. So we're going to add this puppy here. And we'll go ahead and load this up with liquid hydrogen and all that fun stuff. Okay, and we'll go and close that off. This is going to be our pretend satellite, just to test to see what its lift capabilities are. And then what we're going to do next is let's go ahead and attach a radial decoupler. So we'll drop this puppy right about here. Okay, now what we're going to be using in terms of fuel for this launch vehicle, I debated using kerosene and liquid oxygen, but kerosene is way too heavy for what we need to have done here. And kerosene would be a perfect fuel to use if we were going to be using a standard staged rocket. But because everything is going to be reliant on a single fuel tank that's going to be attached to this vehicle here, we're going to need something that has a little bit better ISP. So we're going to use liquid hydrogen instead. Now the downside of using liquid hydrogen is that it is incredibly bulky. So, and you're going to see here in just a second what I mean. Okay, so there's our first tank. Let me see. Liquid hydrogen. We'll attach another tank. And then another tank. Okay, so let's see. So liquid hydrogen. And as a matter of fact, let's attach that fuel line. Yeah, I could use a docking port. However, I'm just going to keep things a little bit simple here. A docking port would imply that we would have to... Well, actually, we could. I was about to say that docking port would imply that we would have to use another docking port, which would add to the part count of the vehicle. But we already have a docking port at the bottom of this spacecraft. Probably could. Yeah, we'll keep things simple, though, and we'll just use a standard radial decoupler here. Okay, so we'll attach the fuel line here. Perfect. Alt F12. Do I still have infinite fuel on? Yes, turn that off. Okay. There we go. Let's see. So right now we have 4,700 delta V. Oh, we gotta get the hydrazine back in to the wings, and also all the tanks here. There we go. Okay, and then we'll attach more liquid hydrogen. Liquid hydrogen. Okay, so that brings us to about 7,000 meters per second delta V. All right, as you can see already, this fuel tank is ginormous. What we're going to need to do too is because look at the thrust to weight ratio, 0.84. It is heavy. So we're going to attach a second engine here. Now normally, these vectoring engines in stock Kerbal Space Program would be enough. However, this is real solar system, and so we're going to spend an extended period of time getting this thing into orbit. So that means we're going to need something that has a lot better vectoring capabilities to keep us stable. Because these vectoring engines are amazing in that, let's see here, what's the vectoring capability here? Ooh. Propellant, engine. Oh, I guess I don't see it here. Oh, it's in there somewhere. But anyways, the vectoring capabilities on those engines are pretty cool. However, they're not enough for what we need. So we're going to need a second vectoring engine to help us a little bit here. And what we're going to do... Oh my goodness. Oh, accidentally clicked on that. Let's fix that. Okay. No, still not attaching. Come on, buddy. Come on. Get back on there. Okay, did we get it? Yes, sort of. Okay, so let's do this again here. Okay, so we're going to attach this guy. Okay, and fortunately this is an easy fix. Okay, here and here. And then Let's go and turn off engineer for just a second here. And then we'll go ahead and attach the fuel line to the engine. Perfect. And then we'll go and attach a vectoring engine down here. All right. So what this is going to do is that this is going to make up for the fact that we lack efficient vectoring capabilities on these engines here to offset asymmetric mass that's the asymmetric thrust and mass that's going to happen when we launch this vehicle into space. Normally, these engines would turn a lot in order to offset the thrust when compared to the mass of this vehicle. However, because these don't vector as much as I want them to, we're going to have two of these. And what I'm going to do is during the course of the launch is I'm going to alter the thrust percentage on this engine here so that we can equalize the thrust during launch so this vehicle doesn't flip over on its side during takeoff. Okay, so let's go ahead and add liquid hydrogen and oxygen to this thing again. There we go. And that puts us back up again. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to save. And then let's go ahead and finish up this main tank here. So we're going to go ahead and add in one of these guys and an adapter here. And we're going to fill that full of liquid hydrogen. And let's go ahead and add in one of these. We'll add in 3 reaction wheels here. There we go. That should help us better stabilize our craft going into orbit. And then we're going to add in our fun little nose cone here. Hey, we can add some liquid hydrogen to that too. Let's go and top that puppy off. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to save. Now let's see what that gives us so far. Okay. Not a whole lot of delta V. Let's see, this. Plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this. Okay. All right. So next up, we'll attach the SRBs, and we'll see how the SRBs alter things after we're done here. Okay. So let's go and add in a connecting strut here. So we're going to stabilize the craft's connection here towards our main fuel tank. There we are. And let's come in a little bit close here. And we'll attach it right to the nose. Perfect. All right, so next up, let's add in our SRBs. Okay, so you need some radial decouplers here. Now, if we were playing stock Kerbal Space Program, we could get away with just using two SRBs, one on each side. However, once again, this is a real solar system, and unfortunately, real fuels wasn't designed with the stock parts in mind. What this means is that we have to make up for it in a little bit more of part counts to make this one work here. So we're going to need more than just 2 SRBs. So let's. Ooh, come on. There we go. Let's bring this a little bit further down. There we go. And we're going to attach a little nose cone to here. And we'll attach another SRB here. Hopefully that matches fine. Yep, we're looking good. And then we'll attach a third SRB here. Because right now, let's see, right now we are at 8,000 delta V. We need more delta V. Absolutely. So we're going to need another SRB here. Okay. There we go. Alright, so that gives us, let's see, 8,800 delta V in a vacuum. Not too shabby. We could probably make that a little bit better too, because right now our thrust to weight ratio is pretty efficient. So we're going to go ahead and drop the thrust on these engines. We'll drop it down to roughly about 90. Yeah, we'll drop this down to 90. Ooh, not 90. Let's go for 92.5. 92 point... Okay, 92. Can I get this down to 92? Come on, show me. There we go. One more engine to go. 92. 92. Show me 92. Oh, oh, come on. Almost there. There we go. Whew. Okay. There we go. That'll guarantee that these engines shut down at the same time. Save that again there. Okay. So, let's go and attach another connecting strut here. As you can tell already, this thing is ginormous. Just to send this tiny little shuttle into space, we're using a lot of tanks and a lot of SRBs. Okay, so next up we're going to need some Separatrons here. So let's go and attach some Separatrons, because we need a nice clean ejection of these engines away from our vehicle. Let's see, because what's going to happen is these engines here, because the rocket will be flying in a slantwise motion, if we're not careful and if we don't have a clean ejection of these SRBs are going to slam into the wings of this shuttle, and we definitely don't want to have that happen. Okay, and then we'll attach another set of Separatrons here. We'll probably use about 8 Separatrons total here. We could use a lot more, but... Oh, dude. Come on. Get up there. Okay. We could probably use a lot more. However, we do want to keep the part counts kind of respectable. And I think... And I'm pretty sure we could do this pretty efficiently with just the 8 Separatrons. There we go. And then one more set of Separatrons to go. And we'll attach it right along the ring line here. Perfect. Okay. We are looking beautiful. Needs more boosters. Ain't that the truth? Okay, here we go. And we're looking pretty good now. I think we might be able to get this thing to take off. Let's see. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We need those thermal radiators. Let's see here. Where are they? Because we want this thing to come back home. We'll go and attach some radiator panels to this thing here. And we will attach it to... Okay, first off we'll attach radiator panel here. And then we'll attach... I guess we should attach them to the wings, shouldn't we? Okay, so radiator panels... Really don't like doing this because it adds to the part counts. But I guess it can't be helped, eh? Right here. Okay. Actually, I haven't tested it yet. Let me take a look real quick. Let's see what the part count is on the shuttle. Shuttle part count is... 29. Woo! Okay, so we kept it under 30 parts, even with the thermal radiator panels. So we are good. Alright, so don't save, and we'll reload the shuttle. The shuttle. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and attach our launch stability enhancers. And we'll attach some here. We'll attach some here. Now my worry is I'm going to launch this vehicle as is. However, in real fuels, engines take time to spool up, and hopefully these launch engines will spool up fast enough. I know that the easier way to do this is to cook the engines for a little bit, to have them spool up and then release the launch stability enhancers. However, we're just going to go all willy-nilly, and we're just going to launch this sucker right off the bat. So I have relative confidence that these engines are going to spool up fairly quickly. I hope. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're looking good. With all of these engines, Real Fuels is using realistic engine plumes. So when this thing initially launches, you're going to see all of these engine plumes just billow out from all of these engine ports. And what that's going to do is it's going to put my video card into overdrive, and we're going to see a little bit of a dip in frame rates. But as we dump these engine plumes, things are going to get a little bit better. Real plumes, as amazing as it is, does have a tendency to max out people's graphics cards. So that's something that we just got to be cognizant of. Okay, so we got our cargo set, ready to go. Let's go ahead and close up the cargo bay. And we're going to save one more time for luck. And let's go ahead and turn this puppy over. All right, guys, let's head out to the launch pad. Okay, here we go, and we're looking pretty good here. We're going to hit up the SAS here, get things nice and stable. We're going to increase the throttle on the engines, and for our first step of the flight, we're going to drop the percentage. We're going to drop our thrust limiter here down to about 50%. Okay, here we go, and oh boy. Moment of truth here, guys. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch. Okay, so we're looking good so far. Go ahead and turn our vehicle over. And we're going to turn this over to 10 degrees. Let's go ahead and dip ourselves over. Let's see if we can get ourselves to 15 degrees. Okay, thrust weight ratio is really good right now. Actually, thrust weight ratio is a little bit more than we really should have it. Let's see, 2.1, 2.12. Ideally, though, we want to hit a thrust weight ratio of around 1.5 to 1.8. So at this point, we're going to be hitting max Q really fast, and we stand the danger of wasting fuel as we just crash through the atmosphere. However, we're going to roll with it, and we're going to see what happens launching this vehicle as is. Okay, so as you can see, the pitch torque indicator here is going down towards the bottom. That's an indication that these reaction wheels here are working overtime to keep ourselves stable. So we're going to increase the percentage on our shuttle engine here to take a little bit of load off of these reaction wheels here. Okay, there we go, and we're approaching 10 kilometers. So let's go ahead and turn ourselves over. And we're going to turn ourselves over to about 45 degrees. There we go. Okay. We're looking pretty good here. Time to Appalachian is at 53 seconds and increasing. Alright, so we can go ahead and turn ourselves over a little bit more here. SRBs are still looking good. See, we've already reached max Q now. And now we're starting to lose delta V due to the atmosphere here. So if we don't make it, note to self, decrease the throttle on these engines so that we can get a little bit more of an efficient launch profile next time. Okay, looking pretty good here. Boy, shuttle is tilted over slightly. That's something we definitely don't want. Okay, I'm afraid to roll this vehicle, but I have to. Let's go ahead and do that just slightly. Okay, good. We're looking good. Keeping things nice and steady. Okay, getting ready to release SRBs. And SRBs release. Woo! Woo! Okay, so we're looking good here. I need to decrease decreasing max thrust on our orbiter engine here. Get ourselves a little bit more stable. And we're going to turn ourselves to about 10 degrees above the horizon. Switching to orbital speed indicator. Okay, come on, baby. Can do it. Let's get ourselves to 5 degrees above the horizon. Okay. And because right now, our Apple apps is pretty darn close to space right now. So we're looking really good. Okay, 45 degrees. Our pitch indicator is working quite a bit here to keep ourselves stable. I might have to decrease the engines here a little bit, on the orbiter engines a little bit more here to stabilize it. There we go. So 34% of max. Okay, so now our pitch indicator is starting to stabilize a little bit more, which is really good. Alright, so our Apple apps is now in space, so I can afford to dip ourselves a little bit more here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep this as it is right now. You know, I probably should have attached some Separatrons to this fuel tank here. But that's okay. We'll just have to use our RCS to avoid this fuel tank here when we ultimately detach it. Okay, so we're looking good. We are 3,500. We're almost halfway there to orbit, guys. So we're looking really good. Okay, and how are we looking here? Beautiful. Okay, time to Apple apps. 1 minute, 19 seconds. We're looking really good here. Okay, so let's see. So our pitch indicator is just about center line here. What we're going to do is we're going to increase the max thrust on our orbiter engine just a little bit here. There we go. So you see that pitch indicator starting to go up a little bit more. We're going to increase the percentage on the max thrust again. Get that pitch indicator up just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now our time to Apple apps is starting to increase. So that's a pretty good sign here that we're making a pretty efficient launch profile here. Ooh, okay. Alright, so we are officially in space, guys. Woo! Congrats. Okay, so let's go ahead and tilt ourselves to 0 degrees above the horizon. Actually, let's go and keep ourselves roughly at about 5 degrees. Okay, I need to increase the thrust on our orbiter here. Things are getting a little bit wacky now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, because the center of mass is starting to move towards the back. And because of that, we're starting to get a little bit of a wobble here. But we're still looking pretty good. Okay. Good, 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 good. We are looking beautiful, guys. Look at that. Woo! We stopped at 7,100 meters per second. We're not quite in orbit yet, but we're going to go ahead and use our hydrazine engines to make the rest of the way through, to get us the rest of the way there. All right. 3, 2, 1. Disengage. All right. Look at that. Disengaging our main fuel tank. Beautiful. And we're going to activate our RCS thrusters here. And we are going to RCS away our main fuel tank. Now we still have 2 minutes to Apple apps. Plenty of time, by the way. And we're going to go and activate our OMS engines. OMS engines, activate! Poop. Okay, so right now our propellant stability is low, so we need to RCS forward so that we can, right now the vapor is clogging up the fuel lines. So we need to RCS forward to make our engines a little more stable. Perfect. And then engines up. Engines up. There we go. Okay, now we're up and running again. Woo! That was close. Okay, so like I said before, unfortunately, Real Fuels wasn't really all that well designed for with the stock engines and stock parts in mind. So the engines are on. These little engines off to the side are on, but unfortunately, the the exhaust wasn't animated to show that these engines are on. So you'll have to trust me on that one, that these side OMS engines are on. Okay, so we are looking good here. Beautiful. Right now, 7,300 meters per second. Apoap's as high as almost at 200 kilometers. So we are about 4/5 of the way to 4/5 of the way to what I would imagine the International Space Station's orbit would be. Okay. And how's our fuel load doing? Hydrazine is looking good. Looks like we're going to be able to get into orbit with hydrazine to spare. That is a good thing. Okay, so we're going to decrease our throttle just a little bit more here. And there we go. And almost there. We need roughly about 400 meters per second left to go to get us into orbit. Actually, it might do us good just to deactivate the engines and let us coast to the Apoap's before we, because right now we're making pretty efficient flight here. Weird thing it takes getting used to, at least for me, when playing real solar system, is that getting almost into orbit isn't getting in orbit. Because right now we are just barely 300 meters per second to getting into orbit, and if we were to stop now, we would still land somewhere in Africa. So it's interesting how just the slightest changes in delta V could make enormous changes in what your orbital trajectories would end up being. Okay, so we are almost there. Okay, so we're going to deactivate engines for a little bit here, and we're going to coast towards the Apoap's here. Here we go. So let's go ahead and scooch ourselves over. There we go. 50, 45, 48 seconds. That's perfect. Okay, so we're going to reactivate the engines again. We need to bump the fuel into our fuel lines by hitting our RCS thrusters. And then reactivating engines again. Perfect. Okay, so right now our periapse height is at negative 150 meters. 150 kilometers. Okay, we're looking good. We're almost in orbit here, guys. Almost. Oh, there we go. We got a positive periapsis here. Okay, almost there. Perfect. All right, we are in stable orbit, guys. Woohoo! We did it. We managed to get this sucker into orbit. All right, so let's go and extend our solar panel here. Recharge our electricity. And then we're going to go ahead and start planning for our return. Okay, then we're going to have Bill here, a resident space engineer, pop on out. And he's going to inspect the cargo, make sure everything is decent. And the cargo didn't jostle around during launch. Okay, beautiful. All right, so, and let's do a quick inspection of our heat tiles here. Make sure nothing jostled loose. Our imaginary heat tiles. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's do a quick inspection of the engine, and everything looks good. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and head back towards our cabin here. And we'll reboard our cabin. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Real Plume works for some of the stock engines, but not for all of them. In this case, Real Plume definitely doesn't work for these radial monopropellant engines here. However, they do still work. They just don't show that they work. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and plan our re-entry back. And see if we can head back to the good old United States. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm quite that much of a master yet to be able to land back at Kennedy Space Center. But we will try to land somewhere in California or somewhere in Texas and Louisiana. So we're going to go and give that one a try here. Okay. Here we go. Lights up. And let's go ahead and prepare for our re-entry burn. And we're going to turn ourselves about. Yeah, I used the newest version of Real Plume. And I used the configs that were available at the time for Real Plume. And they work for just about all of the stock engines, with the exception of this engine here. This was the only one it didn't work for, unfortunately. Okay. Whew. Alright, so let's go and begin our re-entry burn. So, let's see here. Right now... Oh, fuel lines are still pretty stable. What do you know? Okay, so let's go and reactivate our engines. F5 for safety. And let's drop ourselves. Okay, so we're going to drop down our periapps. This is our moment of truth, guys. We're going to see if this shuttle can survive re-entry. Okay, there we go. All right. So, next up, let's hope that we don't land in the ocean. That would be terrible if we did. But there's that possibility that we might. Let's see if we can burn northward just slightly here. And see if we can lift our orbit just a tad bit. Takes a lot of delta V to change the inclination of orbit in real solar system. So we may not do a whole lot, but still worth a shot here. Okay, burning northward. And then we're going to have to burn retrograde again after we burn north. Okay. There we go. Alright, so that's pretty close enough. What we're going to do is from there, we're going to go ahead and rely on our aerodynamics. And we're going to use the lift on our wings to finish up the rest of our turn to land here. Okay. Almost set here. And perfect. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. Whew. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and get rid of our cargo. So we'll get rid of our cargo and RCS downward. There we go. That way it doesn't screw up our lift to mass here. Coming back into the planet. Okay, and then next up, let's go ahead and close our cargo bay. And in just about a bit or two, we're gonna have to get rid of our fuel here too. We'll wait for a little bit before we get rid of our fuel in case we can do some last minute adjustments here. Okay, here we go. And dropping down. Okay, so now we're in the atmosphere. Okay, so we should be coming down pretty decent. We're going to turn ourselves around here. Definitely don't want to fly in backwards. Okay, moment of truth. We're going to see if these heat radiators can get rid of a lot of this excess heat here. And we're going to test the stock parts capability on re-entry profiles. Fingers crossed, guys. Yeah, solar panel is indeed going to break. However, we're not that far into the atmosphere that it's too much of a concern. We'll probably bring in the solar panel at about 110 kilometers. Okay, so let's see. How are we doing? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin to turn early, and we're gonna turn ourselves to 45 degrees. There we go. And then let's go ahead and 45 degrees. Okay, so now what we could do is let's go ahead and get rid of the excess hydrazine here. So we're going to go ahead and dump our fuel. There we go. And while we're here, yes, let's go and retract that solar panel. Okay, so we don't hit re-entry heating, if I remember correctly, until roughly about 50 kilometers. A little bit less than that, maybe 40 kilometers. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to turn our wings just a little bit more here. And we've almost dumped all our hydrazine. Remember, we got to dump all of our excess fuel so that we can restabilize our lift to mass. And also make our vehicle a little bit lighter too for landing. Okay, 13%. A lot of hydrazine here to get rid of. Hopefully there aren't any swimmers down there in the ocean. Oh, hydrazine is not good for your health. Okay, there we go. We've got rid of the hydrazine, so we're going to go ahead and stop releasing our hydrazine. And we'll close up our TAC fuel balancer menu here. And let's see. So far, I don't think our wings are cutting that much into the atmosphere, so we don't have that much. We're not using the lift of our wings quite yet for turning, but that's okay though. I think we should still be all right. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna double up the speed a little bit here. There we go. And so far we're looking okay. We're not heating up or anything. That's definitely a good thing. And we're going to keep this steady on course at 45 degrees. Whew! Okay. And so far, we're looking okay. We're not heating up or anything. That's definitely a good thing. Okay, so we're still keeping stable, 45 degrees. Altitude is approaching 92 kilometers. And here we go. Okay, so we're approaching the Baja Peninsula. Ooh, right wing is starting to feel a little bit of the burn there. No heat indicators yet, so we're still looking good. Okay, let's dip our nose just a little bit here. Okay, we'll dip our nose to roughly 5 degrees above the horizon, below the horizon. Okay, all right. And there's the Baja Peninsula. Slipping below. Let's see, I guess that would put us roughly near Louisiana. Maybe around the Alabama area. Hopefully, hopefully on land. Okay, so now we're starting to get some heat indicators here. Definitely not a good thing. Okay. Oh, come on. Hold steady, guys. You can do it. Don't explode on me. All right, so we're approaching 75 kilometers. Let's go ahead and increase time again. How are we doing? Okay, so, gosh, we're going to be right over the Gulf in a little bit here. I wish I could get more bite into these wings. Okay. All right, so left wing is starting to heat up a little bit. Still looking okay. Steady on, guys. Steady on. Okay, heat indicators. Oh, they're still okay. Still all right. Okay, now gosh, we're starting to bounce in the atmosphere now. As you can see, we're starting to gain some positive altitude. Our lift indicator, we're increasing at 10 meters per second back up into space. So I'm going to dip our nose down here. Drop us to 10 degrees below the horizon. And let's see if I can scooch ourselves just a little bit more. Come on, buddy. We got to get our orbit down. We got to get our trajectory down to land. Okay, so we're going to hit somewhere around the Alabama, Georgia area. Yeah, right wing isn't doing so hot. But we're going to have to risk it. Okay. Looking good so far. Oh, we're back. Oh, as you can see right here, we are now increasing altitude at about 11 meters per second. Ooh, 20. Vertical speed is now at 20 meters per second. Positive. We need to drop our nose down a little bit more here. Okay, so pretty darn close to land. Come on, baby. We can do this. Oh, if only I could hold this at 45 degrees. Come on. Okay, surface speed isn't dropping as fast as I would like it to. I imagine probably would have been a good idea to put on some air brakes on this thing. Of course, so that would add to the part count. And really, air brakes aren't an absolute necessity. Okay, here we go. Okay, so looks like we're going to do okay here. How is the temperature on that wing? All right, so temperature is still tolerable. Okay, we're now, all right, so we're back to negative vertical velocity, negative vertical speed, minus 35 meters per second. So losing altitude pretty respectfully here. Oh, deep red on the cockpit there. That's not a good sign. Okay, let's turn ourselves over here. And let's drop ourselves down. Okay, so the heat on the right wing has stabilized a little bit. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, no doubt. These wings are under a lot of stress right now. So we're going to go ahead and stabilize just a little bit here. We're not going to be quite so drastic in our turn. Okay. There we go. So we got some re-entry heating here. Okay, how are we doing so far? Okay, so we're probably going to be hitting land. Woo! Probably not such a good idea to use stock parts for this little endeavor. But still, it makes for a pretty fun challenge. Okay, there we go. And surface speed is 6 kilometers per second. All right, hitting the atmosphere pretty good here. Okay, all that heat. Ooh, it's starting to become a little bit worrisome. Where is that heat coming? Okay, so is it marking the wings? I hope it's not marking the wings there. I'm going to bet that the wings are okay, and those heat indicators are something else. Could be the wings, though. Yep, everything is red. However, I have faith in this design. Okay, so we are doing good. Whew. Oh boy, hold on, guys. Jeb, how are you guys holding up here? All right. Expressions of indifference from our pilots here. Jebediah, feeling it. He's got this. Okay, so our heat indicators went down just a little bit, so that's a good sign. Okay, we're going to turn our vehicle just a little bit more. We're going to risk a little bit more stress on the wings here. Because we want to try to hit land. And we're going to be hitting up the coast here. So let's see if we can turn ourselves just a little bit here. So we're going to bank just slightly. Okay. All right. Woo! All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch to we're going to switch to our detailed I forgot what it's called. We're going to hit the caps lock key. And we're going to do just small corrections here. Oh yeah, those wings, oh my gosh. It looks like the cockpit's starting to feel it there too. Let's see if we can... Okay, so we're going to turn... We're going to bring ourselves a little bit level here, and we're going to spread the heat evenly. Okay. How are we doing? Alright, so we're going to be landing somewhere close to North Florida here, around the Panhandle. Okay, so let's see. Speed is now at 4 kilometers per second. Did we dump all our hydrazine? Yes, we did. Okay, good. Okay, looks like we're doing pretty decently here. Okay, so we're starting to feel a little bit of the heat on our RCS thrusters. The wings are still heating up pretty good. Oh, come on. Can do this. I believe in you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and drop ourselves down a little bit more. We're going to go down to 10 degrees below the horizon. Because we need to slow down in a hurry. And we need to drop altitude in a hurry. And the best way to slow down without without flaps, without our braking flaps, is we need to hit thicker atmosphere here. Okay, here we go. So, alright, so our heat indicators are judging just our cockpit and our 2 wings now. Woo, okay. Here we go, and let's turn ourselves. We're getting a little bit of a shimmy here. Okay, so now it's just our cockpit. Looks like the heat indicator's gone from the wings. Okay, so 1,300 meters per second. How are we looking? Okay. Right now, our radar altitude is at 15 kilometers. Okay. Higher angle of attack would be good. Absolutely. But I think we've pretty much gone through the worst of it, so it looks like things are starting to even out a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and level off. Alright, so... Actually, we're going to go ahead and drop ourselves here, because for a second there we were increasing in altitude, and we just want to land this puppy in a hurry. Woo! Okay, I think we made it, guys. Let's go ahead and get ourselves down. I'm going to go and activate the brakes early here. Radar altitude is around 10 kilometers. Okay, and we're going to do a pretty drastic change in altitude here because we want to land this puppy. Here we are. Okay, so let me see here. We're at 7 kilometers altitude here and decreasing. Vertical speed minus 100 meters per second. Gonna level ourselves off in just a little bit here. I'm gonna go ahead and time jump a little bit. Increase speed times 2. I think we managed to make it here with all of our parts. We'll have to check on that in just a little bit. Famous last words indeed. Okay, here we go, and we're at 2 kilometers. Okay, let's go ahead and open up our gears. Gears, okay, there we go. Okay, 1,500 meters, 1,300 meters. Coming down nice and easy. Okay, we're at 1 kilometer altitude. Drop ourselves to 900 meters. 800, almost there. Okay, vertical speed is at minus 13 meters per second. Radar altitude is at 500 meters. Okay, 400. Okay, 200 meters. All right, so back down to 1 times speed. And here we go. Gonna land this puppy. Man, those heat radiators still heating up. Okay, here we go. And surface speed at 50 meters per second. And nice and easy textbook landing. Wabam! Okay, slowing down speed, and we have successfully stopped. Woo! All right, so we have successfully launched a stock space shuttle in real solar system using the real fuels mod. Let's go and take a look at our parts here. Let's make sure nothing exploded or burnt off. Vapor lines, engine, blah, blah, blah. Okay, nope, and we still got all the parts of our spacecraft. All right, well, excellent job, Jebediah and Bill. Nice work indeed. This shuttle will live to fly again another day. All right, well, I'd like to thank you all for coming into this live stream today. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you again next time.